The noise before stillness. The mind never stops talking. Even when your lips are sealed, thought keeps whispering. What's next? Why did that happen? Am I doing enough? It argues, compares, plans, remembers, blames, defends. It weaves 1,000 stories every hour, then calls the noise your life. But in truth, the noise is only a veil. Behind it, something vast waits in silence, a radiance that has never been touched by confusion. Swami Radha said, "The light of truth is not something you acquire. It's what you uncover when you stop hiding behind thought." When the mind becomes still, you do not lose yourself. You remember the one who was always watching, even while the thoughts danced. 2. The river of thought. Imagine your mind as a river. Each thought a current, sometimes calm, sometimes violent. You stand by its edge, and for a moment, you think you are the water. You are pulled, tumbled, lost in its rush. But one day, you step back. You realize you can watch the river flow without being carried away. That step back, that single act of awareness, is the beginning of stillness. Swami Radha would say, "You cannot command the mind to be still. You can only stop jumping in." Stillness begins not by suppressing thought, but by refusing to be its echo. You observe, and the river slows. You observe more deeply, and it begins to mirror the sky. 3. Between two thoughts. Most people believe silence is rare, something to be achieved after years of practice. But the truth is simpler. Between every two thoughts, there is already silence. Tiny, fleeting, but eternal in nature. That space is your true self, not a gap in consciousness, but consciousness itself. Every time you glimpse it, you feel peace, relief, lightness, not because something was added, but because you briefly stopped resisting what is. Radha called this the breath of awareness, the living stillness that holds all movement within it. When you learn to rest there, the mind no longer dominates. It becomes a gentle servant of the heart. 4. The art of pausing. Sit quietly and listen. The mind rushes to fill the silence with words, plans, memories, opinions. But if you wait and listen without reaching, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Silence has a sound of its own. It hums softly beneath every noise, like a cosmic heartbeat. This is the art of pausing, not forcing quiet, but allowing yourself to be held by it. Swami Radha often meditated in silence long before teaching. She said the teachings didn't come from intellect, but from the echo of stillness. You don't create stillness. You stop interfering with it. 5. When thought softens, stillness doesn't arrive all at once. At first, thoughts still rise, but they no longer grip you. They drift like clouds over an open sky. You realize you don't need to control them, only to stop identifying with them. As this recognition deepens, a subtle joy arises. A golden warmth begins to radiate from within. You feel light, not in mood, but in essence. This is the beginning of divine light. It's not an external vision or mystical flash. It's the natural brightness of awareness when the fog of overthinking dissolves. 6. The mirror and a flame. Radha once compared the mind to a mirror covered in dust. Every thought, every desire, every fear, another layer. Meditation is not polishing the mirror violently. It is stopping the hand that keeps adding dust. When you stop interfering, the mirror begins to reflect light again, the same light that has always been there. She said, "The divine light does not enter you. It is revealed through you." When you glimpse that radiance, you realize that peace is not an achievement. It is your original condition. Stillness is the cloth that clears the mirror. Awareness is the flame that reveals your face within it. 7. The secret chamber. Close your eyes. Let the world fall away for a moment. Imagine walking into a silent temple. No noise, no movement, only the glow of one steady lamp. That temple is within you. The lamp is your awareness. And the still air around it, that is divine light. Swami Radha called this the inner chamber, a place that cannot be disturbed by the world. No matter how loud life becomes, you can always step inside. You are not the noise of the world. You are the silence that holds it. 8. The end of searching. As the mind quiets, a strange thing happens. The need to search begins to fade. You no longer chase experiences, no longer crave answers, because the seeker dissolves in the seeing. The light you were seeking has always been what you were looking with. This is why the mystics smile for no reason. They have stopped trying to find. They simply rest in what is. Radha said, "When the mind becomes still, it does not see God, it becomes the reflection of God. And in that moment, light ceases to be a concept. It becomes your being." 9. The soundless music. Listen closely, not with your ears, but with awareness. Can you feel the vibration that hums through everything? It is not the sound of instruments, but of existence itself. When the mind is silent enough, you begin to hear this music, a soundless harmony that carries all life. Every breath, every heartbeat moves to its rhythm. This is what Radha called the divine frequency. You can't hear it when you're rushing, but in stillness, it reveals itself like dawn after long night. That's why silence feels sacred, because it's never truly empty. It's full of music you've forgotten how to hear. 10. The soft light of awareness. Now you begin to feel it, the soft inner radiance that arises when thought fades. It doesn't blind, it soothes. It doesn't demand belief, it invites remembrance. This light is what sages call divine, not because it comes from heaven, but because it is untouched by fear. When the mind becomes still, the soul begins to glow, not with pride, but with the quiet dignity of being itself. Radha said, "You are not seeking light, you are light, seeking an end to forgetting." And in that remembrance, you understand. Stillness was never the absence of thought. It was the presence of truth, the light that watches. When you first glimpse divine light, it feels like a moment of grace, fleeting, precious, rare. But then you realize something deeper. The light was never seen by the mind. It was seeing through it all along. You were never outside of it. You were the window through which it shines. The light does not belong to you. It simply flows through when you stop blocking its way. Radha said, "Awareness is not what you have. It is what you are when you are not distracted." Stillness is not a state to reach. It is the nature of the witness itself. The ordinary miracle. After the silence, the world returns. Voices, traffic, conversations, work. But something subtle has changed. You no longer feel trapped inside the noise. You see it, like waves that can no longer drown you. The miracle is not escaping the world, but walking through it with unshaken peace. A bird lands near your window, and suddenly you feel as if it has been speaking to you all your life. The air moves across your skin, and it feels sacred. Nothing changed except awareness, and yet everything glows differently. This is divine light living through you. The ordinary now luminous, the mundane now miraculous. The gentle eye. The awakened mind doesn't analyze, it blesses. It sees without judgment, listens without defending, loves without needing to possess. When awareness opens, your perception becomes soft, like the eye of a mother watching her child sleep. Radha said, "When you see through love, you see through God's eye." The divine light doesn't need to correct anyone. It transforms simply by shining. Where before you might have reacted, now you understand. Where you would have argued, you quietly smile, because light does not fight darkness, it reveals its illusion. Something else happens when stillness deepens. You stop carrying the unnecessary. The mind loves to collect memories, identities, disappointments, ambitions. But awareness does not store. It renews itself moment to moment. And so you begin to feel lighter, not only in body, but in spirit. Things that once hurt you now pass through like wind through open curtains. Forgiveness ceases to be an effort. It becomes your default nature. Because the one who needed to hold grudges was only the restless mind. The light holds nothing. It only shines. There's a sacred rhythm to life when you stop fighting what is. Everything seems to unfold at the right time. The right word, the right silence, the right loss, even the right storm. This is not submission. It is alignment. Swami Radha said, "To live in awareness is to live without resistance." When you cease to struggle, grace moves through you like breath. When you live like this, each day becomes prayer. You move not to achieve, but to express. Action flows without tension. Decisions come without fear. Because you no longer act from mind, you act through awareness. Divine light is not meant to be hoarded. It is the nature of light to share itself. When stillness fills you, it naturally overflows as kindness. You begin to sense what others feel, not as burden, but as connection. Your words become gentler. Your presence begins to heal without effort. Radha taught, service is not something you do. It is what awareness does through you. When awareness acts, it doesn't ask for reward. It gives because giving is its nature. The sun doesn't calculate where to shine. As awareness expands, you start to see the same light in every being, even in those who resist it. The person who angers you becomes a teacher in disguise. The stranger's eyes reveal your own. You begin to see that there is no other. There is only the light, playing countless roles, pretending to forget itself, just so it can remember again through you. Radha said, "To see the divine in another is the most sacred prayer you can offer." This is how the inner silence blossoms into compassion. You no longer love because of someone. You love as the presence that moves through everyone. The light in action. Awareness is not passivity. It moves with precision, like a dancer guided by invisible rhythm. When you speak from stillness, your words carry weight. When you act from silence, your actions bring harmony. You may seem calm, but your presence stirs awakening in others. You don't need to preach. Your peace becomes the message. Radha said, "Let your life be your mantra. Let your silence become your teaching." You are not trying to shine. You simply stopped covering the light. 19. The return to silence. Even as awareness deepens, there will be days when the mind grows loud again. Moments of confusion, doubt, fear. But now, you know where home is. You don't fight the noise anymore. You return to the silence beneath it, like a diver returning to still water after each ripple passes. Each time you rest there, the connection strengthens. The remembrance grows easier. Silence becomes your friend, your teacher, your sanctuary. You no longer chase enlightenment. You simply come home to quiet again and again. 20. The light that never leaves. One day you'll realize something extraordinary. The light never left. Even in moments of darkness, it was shining behind the clouds of thought. Awareness doesn't fade, only your attention does. And when you stop chasing, the clouds part effortlessly. Radha once said, "The light of truth cannot be extinguished. It can only be forgotten." Remembering this brings peace deeper than understanding. Because now you know, even when you forget, the light remembers you. 21. Silence becomes love. In the deepest stillness, you find love that needs no object. It does not crave, it does not cling. It simply radiates. A love that forgives the world for being imperfect and honors it for being real. When you are quiet enough, you feel this love as warmth in the heart. Gentle, boundless, free. It is not personal, yet it touches everything personally. This is what Radha meant by divine light. The love that arises when the mind rests completely. 22. The world as reflection. Now you see the world differently. Each encounter, each emotion, is a reflection of consciousness learning about itself. The harsh word shows where compassion is still hidden. The storm reveals where trust still hesitates. Life stops being an obstacle course and becomes a mirror of awakening. Radha said, "Awareness does not remove the world. It transforms the way you see it." You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What part of the light is this trying to show me?" 23. The radiant mind. As stillness matures, you begin to think differently. The mind, once your master, becomes your instrument. Thought no longer dominates, it serves. It becomes precise, kind, efficient. Like a mirror so clean that even the light of awareness enjoys reflecting in it. This is the true meaning of an enlightened mind, a mind illuminated, not erased. A mind that rests in silence between thoughts, and moves only when love calls it to. 24. The eternal dawn. Every morning, awareness rises again, like sunlight gently returning after night. You sit in stillness, eyes closed or open. It doesn't matter. You feel the breath, the body, the vastness. And within that quiet dawn, you sense the same radiance you once called divine light. It has become ordinary, and that is its highest form. It shines not only in meditation, but in washing dishes, in listening to someone's sorrow, in walking under rain. This is illumination lived, not spectacular, but intimate and endless. 25. The secret of divine light. In the end, the secret is simple. Divine light was never hidden. It was only drowned in the noise of thought. When the mind becomes still, you realize that silence was never empty. It was luminous all along. You were never meant to find the light. You were meant to stop dimming it. Radha said, "When you sit in true silence, the universe remembers its own radiance through you." And so, every act of awareness, every pause, every breath, every moment of genuine presence is the divine light remembering itself. 26. Closing benediction. Take a breath. Let it go slowly. There is nowhere to reach, nothing to become. The light you sought is already here, watching through your eyes, listening through your stillness. When the mind becomes still, you no longer live in the world. The world lives in you. And in that stillness, the divine smiles, not as something far away, but as the silent radiance you've always been.